Welcome back to another edition of Inside Mariemont Warriors Athletics here on MariemontSports.com and ESP Media powered by Sidearm Sports. I'm Jason Griefer. Tom Nerl joining us as always to discuss all things Warriors athletics. Tom, assuming we can get something in this week because as we're talking on a Monday morning, precipitation's falling once more.
It's fallen in every form too. It's fallen in the water form and following up with the frozen form. So what a spring, what a rough spring. So we'll see what we can do though.
Yeah, absolutely. And got a lot of things going on this week. Again, assuming we can actually get some cooperation from the heavens above. But let's talk about your baseball team first. Right now, off to a good start in the league. They've won their first two by a combined margin of 28-5. So scoring a lot, pitching off to a good start in the league as well. But a busy week slated for this week, to be sure. Not slated for another day off until the upcoming Sunday. Yeah. And also 5 league games on the docket between today, Monday, and next Sunday. So big week in that regards as well. Are the coaches looking at this week as a potential like make or break week in terms of the overall picture with the CHL?
Yeah, I think everyone's going to look at that. You know, on the bright side, with this weather, we're undefeated for the last 2 weeks. On the downside, it's only 2 games. So, look at the bright side of things. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be a heck of a week. I mean, here we are Monday morning, looking at rain and snow, and wondering if we can move the game to Indian Hill because they have a turf infield. But 5 league games, and they're not easy ones. There's not an easy one in there. So, Indian Hill a couple times, Finneytown I think is in there, Taylor, Deer Park. So it's just a busy week, and everyone's running into this now. You set out a baseball schedule at the beginning of the season, and you figure you need 3 pitchers, 2 starters, and then a third pitcher to maybe chew up a start and get through it, that you can bounce back and forth. And when you're playing 5 in a week, it's really a test of your depth. I don't know if any high school team on the Division III level, Division II level has 5 starters that they can rely on. So guys are going to get tired quickly. This time of the spring, we're ready to look at 70-degree temperatures in dry fields, and it's going to be in the 50s today, maybe get to the 50s today and wet. So this is almost like starting over in March for a lot of these guys. We haven't built up the innings or anything else. So everyone's in the same boat. We believe we got the offense that can carry us for a while. If the defense can keep us close, we know we got some pitchers that will grind through some innings. We've already seen that with Michael and Quinn and Max and JD. So hopefully they can get us through some things and just carry us into a good week here, and then get back on track with the league schedule.
Is this something with a game or a schedule like this where you essentially don't have a day off, and with so many league games where the coaches are telling the guys like, look, this is a week we got to band together, and I may call on 1 or 2 guys to pitch who haven't pitched before just to eat up a few innings here and there to save some of your bigger arms?
I don't think it's a matter of saving arms. I just think it's a matter that you don't have the arms. There's pitch counts in Ohio. And so once you reach a certain level of pitches, that pitcher cannot be used for another 2 days, 3 days, whatever. So you just get to the point where there is no one else, and so someone has to do it. Part of our efforts in the scrimmages early on was to throw a lot of people, and so we've got a couple underclassmen that can pitch. They haven't been called on a whole lot, but they will this week. So just getting everything in, try and get this red showcase game in tomorrow, the Indian Hill game today. It's going to be a busy week, and hopefully the guys come through. Our seniors have been waiting for this season. Like I said, they can swing it well, so we're just hoping we can chew out a lot of wins.
Similar kind of story with your softball team. They've got a lot of games coming up this week in the league. Indian Hill, Deer Park, Taylor, coming up before you get Wyoming twice next week. They're off to a slower start though. They're only 1-3 in the league with a pitching staff that's been hit pretty good thus far, although you've played a couple of quality teams in Madeira and Finneytown to start thus far. But we look at the way the schedule's shaking out. You've got Indian Hill coming up twice, and they have been struggling mightily thus far in the league. They've played 4 games and only scored 1 run during that time. So they're really struggling to put the bat on the ball and have runs across the board. Are you looking at this 2-game set with Indian Hill as a time for the pitching staff to get things turned around? And also, are you looking at this 2-game set as we got to get both of these if we're going to get where we want to go in the league?
And the softball is a building process, and so we've thrown our pitcher Sophie Sontag in a number of the starts, and Sophie's a good pitcher. She runs into situations where she just has a bad inning, and those bad innings can grow really quick in softball. But our softball team's a team, and we said this all along. They can hit, and they have hit all year. Doing some different things. Last week we had a doubleheader with Finneytown, 2 5-inning games, and then squeeze another one in with Madera on Thursday, just trying to get the games in. Well, we can hit with the best of them. Even though the averages don't always reflect it. I mean, Bella Mason's one of the hardest hitters that we have. She's been hitting shots right at people. So is Ann Gilbertson. Jamie Rodriguez is just raking right now with 3 hits the other day. Our couple freshmen, Reese Murphy and Lainey Willett. I mean, they hit well. So we can hit with anybody. But sometimes you just run out of innings, and that's against Finneytown we put a couple of big innings on the board. They can do that. They just have to eliminate the big innings as well. So it's a tough week for them, like you said. 2 games with Indian Hill. Hopefully we can get back on track with them. That was one of the games I believe last year. I think the final score was 36-35. Indian Hill went for 2 and didn't get the 2-point conversion, and we came out with a 4-hour win. And so, who knows what happens when we play those guys. But then you get Deer Park and Taylor on the schedule this week as well, and they're good. And so we are going to be challenged. But five games this week is going to be a lot when we've been playing 1 and 2 the last couple of weeks. So hopefully we keep swinging it. We know the defense is going to continue to play well, and the pitching comes through. So yeah, really hoping that the girls can scratch out a couple wins this week.
Speaking of challenge, your tennis team is going to be challenged later today if the matchup gets played, because you've got Indian Hill coming up. And obviously we know everything that Indian Hill is. We know how good they are. But your team's playing very, very well. Struggled early on in the season, but they've come on strong the last couple of weeks, winning the last 4. So just curious there what their confidence level is heading into this matchup with Indian Hill, and ultimately what they're hoping to accomplish in this matchup, knowing the task in front of them.
They're a pretty loose bunch, and so they have a good time going to matches, coming from matches. Will Stevens is certainly hitting it really well right now. Bennett Harris is coming around as well, playing really well. A couple of big wins last week. 4-1 win against New Richmond, getting the team tennis win against Milton Union last week. The other guys, the Glassmeyer brothers, Ryan and Will, David Andrews, Riley, but more they're playing well. And so yeah, this is a good match. I know Will's looking forward to it, to get this one in. It's just wish they had better weather, because playing tennis in 50-degree weather isn't the way the sport's supposed to be played. And so but hopefully things dry out and we can see what we have. They're looking forward to it, just to see as a gauge where we are at this point in our season.
Also slated matchups later on in the week with Bishop Fenwick, Elder, a couple others. So it's going to be, interesting time coming up here soon. Also ahead of the Coaches Classic coming up at the end of the month here. How do they feel like their overall play is outside of the Indian Hill matchup? Do they feel like that, if anything, they are heading in the right direction as we are heading towards the Coaches Classic and ultimately the postseason just less than a month away?
Yeah, there's a lot of good vibes coming out of these guys. Like we said last week or a week before, they were playing big teams early on, strong programs, and so now we're back on our level. We're back, in Division II level of tennis. You see a couple of Division I names in there with Elder, and then you got Fenwick coming in. They feel really good about where they are now. Things are improving. They're starting to get into a little bit more of a groove with a couple more matches per week, and so that helps. The better weather is only going to help improve that whenever the better weather comes. But yeah, they're a very positive group. They've been building for this. They're very excited for the rest of the season.
Track and field should hopefully see a little bit better weather later on in the week when they go to Anderson for a big meet there. A lot of schools are going to be in that one. You also get Finneytown on the docket coming up this week. So we look at the way the schedule's shaking out. You've got about a month left in the regular season. We've got a couple of meets this week, a couple of meets scheduled this next week at this point. Are we looking at these 2 weeks really as the final push before the coaches start to begin that tapering process to make sure that the runners and athletes are as fresh as they can be before the postseason?
Yeah, they really do, and Coach Dragovich does a great job with that. We have our meet, the McKee meet, sponsored by Tri-State Running. We have that in 3 weeks, and so a lot of kids are going to run the CHL. Will sit that meet out because they're getting ready. A lot of their distance people will sit out that one. But you start seeing our track team having two meets a week, and she's splitting the squad up to make sure they get to work against some different competition. The relays have been running really well. The distance people are starting to stretch it out as well. And so good times are coming in. And yeah, we're looking forward to that, to get some really good meets in these next 2 weeks and then build up for the CHL and then look forward to the district meet at New Richmond.
Switching gears and heading on to the lacrosse field, and let's talk about the boys first. They're playing well still, 4-0 on the year. Most recently, a 14-4 win over Indian Hill this past Friday. And we talked a lot about that matchup last week and the fact that both teams were able to coming in to score a lot. Your team did. Your defense also really stepped up and really clamped down on Indian Hill. And as I said, holding them to 4 goals. But next up, you've got Loveland coming this Wednesday. They're 8-0 on the season. They have been breezing through their early part of the schedule. It's going to be a big challenge for sure. Just curious how important you thought the defensive performance was against Indian Hill and only holding them to 4 goals, and how big that was in getting ready for a Loveland team that's been as good as anybody right now in Southwest Ohio.
Yeah, Indian Hill was flying pretty high up until Friday night, so we knew that was going to be a challenge. It was a physical game, as it always is. We got a little beat up, a couple guys nicked up, banged up a little bit, just taking some shots. And so that was a rough game that way. It was great to see the offense come out and just changing the scoring around, mixing the scoring up. You got some candidates that were coming in for all national honors, all state honors before the season, and then some different names coming up on the scoring. This is a very unselfish team. They are very willing to pass the ball. They find the open man, they get to scoring. And so to come out like that, there was a little bit of a lull at the end of the first half. Going into the third quarter, Indian Hill made a little bit of a run. Our guys rebounded well and finished the game really strong. With Loveland, they're the #1 team in the state right now. This was a good rivalry, probably going back 8-10 years. They were D2 with us, and a lot of back and forth with that. It was a lot of fun. But they're coming down here Wednesday night. They're the #1 team. We think we're pretty good in Division II, and it's also our youth night. So there's going to be a big crowd. It's going to be a great lacrosse atmosphere. We're really looking forward to it. I know the boys are excited about it.
You mentioned against Indian Hill getting scoring from some guys that maybe don't necessarily put up the big numbers compared to some of your main stalwarts there offensively. How important was that to get that in a big time matchup like this, and not just against a team that you would handle business against, and some of those younger guys and maybe less experienced guys get a chance to get in there, to do it in a bigger matchup like this? How important do you think that can be for the team in the long haul?
No, I think it's very important to, Friday Night Lights, you got a nice crowd there. It's against a rival. We come out right away. Evan Morgan with 2 goals right off the bat, just short of the hat trick early on in the game. And then we start passing around with Gall, and you always have Tepe there and some other guys getting the goals. And then Brenneman playing great defense again in the goal. Defense fell back very nicely, played good D, but that's very important. We had Waterson the week before. That was an 8-6 win. We've talked about that last week, how important that is, because that's a team that we play down the stretch in the regionals every year. That's a big one. So yeah, it's just a grind right now. We probably play a few less games this year than we normally do, a little bit smaller squad, but we're a little dinged up as well. A couple of guys just now coming back to action. So this is going to be a big one on Wednesday. And then we have Columbus Academy coming down Saturday. So it's a big week for our guys. And just really hitting that stride now. A couple of weeks where we have the draw. We want to get that #1 pill. We want to have all the games at our place going into the tournament. So they're excited, very, very humble bunch, very willing to pass the ball around. They're fun to watch.
You touched on Bishop Watterson there on the boys' side. Well, the girls are going to see Bishop Watterson coming up this week, this coming Saturday out of Kuzel Stadium. But before that, you're going to get road trips to Indian Hill and to CHCA on Tuesday and Thursday, respectively. Your team's been rolling thus far on the season. They did have to go to overtime this past Thursday to beat Springboro 13-12. They follow that up on Saturday with a comfortable win over Kings 16-5. But we look at this schedule, the way it sets up this week to close out the month of April, because they're going to have a little bit of time off after this, a little over a week before we head into May. But how big of a litmus test do you think this coming week is, with the road trips to Indian Hill and to CHCA, who are both fine programs, and obviously Bishop Watterson coming to you this coming Saturday?
The girls have responded well. We thought Saturday's game might be a little bit of a trap game. You had Springboro coming in, a D1 team, a very nice program, an exciting overtime win with them. And so to come back, and then this week you've got a very good Indian Hill team. They're rolling people. They're putting a lot of goals up every game, and so that's going to be it's going to be a really good match especially for our defense. But we've mentioned we've got Caroline, we've got Piper, we've got a number of people putting up a lot of goals in the early season right now. So we think we can score, but that's going to be a game. That's a regional game. That's another team that we see going into the regional bracket with Indian Hill. It's going to be an exciting game. It's going to be at Indian Hill. And then CHCA is no slouch, but as you said, Watterson coming down here for that match, another team that we see in the postseason. So it's a very strong week. Then we take a week off next week, not just the way the schedule falls. Prom the following weekend, then we wrap it up the following 2 weeks. A big week for seeding purposes. So we need to come out of here with some W's.
Do they understand? Are they sensing that heightened sense of how big this week is, knowing that they're heading into a week off, as you said, seeding purposes also going on, but also knowing coming out of that week off in early May, the first game you've got is against Mason?
Mm-hmm. They, I don't know. I watch this team warm up. I watch them play. I talk to the coaches, and I just don't get the sense that this team is worried about that. They just, they're going to go out and they're going to play, and they're going to have fun, and they're going to score a lot. So just haven't really seen that nervousness or that anxiety out of them in pre-games. They play their pre-game music. They have fun. They go and play. A pretty loose bunch also. So it's good to see, and just good vibes from what I get from the coaching staff.
What do you make when you see the players out there, doing their pregame stuff, enjoying themselves, but also the ability, when the first draw happens, to lock in and to be able to play the way they have? Because as I said, outside of the Springboro game, they have been steamrolling essentially everyone. Obviously, the target's big on them right now, being the defending state champions, but to go out and respond the way they have, and to, as we've also talked about, to have so many different players be able to score, assist, win those draw controls, cause those turnovers, all those types of things. What's that been like for you to watch from the sidelines, and also for the coaching staff and working with the girls on a daily basis?
I think the amazing thing is just the level of confidence. And we've talked on here many times. It's just about what are teams thinking, how are they looking forward to this week, but just a confident team. And and some teams fake confidence, and they get a lot of noise, and they do a lot of yelling and screaming, and they try to talk themselves into a level of confidence. And this team's not like that. I mean, they are very businesslike. I'll be in the hallway outside their locker room, or in the coach's office that's down the hall, and I can hear their pregame music, and they're getting hyped up, and the fun that they have. And I think that's just one of the amazing things about high school sports, is when a team gets that confident, and they're confident in each other, just the fun that they have. And it's not fake. There's no bravado there. They just go and they play. How nice it is to watch, how fun it is to watch. And we watched them. We watched Springboro tie that game up, and so pressed a little bit there. Really, the first time we've really been challenged early in a game like that. So it was good to see them respond like that. Just a lot of fun for that team to see them come through with that.
The way we look at the way things are shaking out right now is, as we talked about here today, baseball's playing well, softball's got a chance to pick up some wins, tennis is playing well, your track and field team, we've talked about them, and the distance runners and the relays, and what you think you've got there for the long haul. And obviously both lacrosse programs are coming off state championships and seem like they've got the tools to potentially make another deep run, and maybe even repeat as state champions. Overseeing all of this for you as an athletic director, how how much are you involved with these programs when they are rolling like this? Are you taking a step back and letting the coaches handle it, or are you just kind of checking in every once in a while? What's it like for you when you have so many different programs that are just seemingly rolling right now with the postseason nearby?
I always stay out of the way. I mean, we have great coaches, and we let them do great things with our athletes, and we have great athletes that respond to that coaching as well. You know, I'm just kind of guy that helps them make things happen. And I tell coaches when I hire them, my job is to make your job easier. And anything I can do to stay out of the way. So they're not worried about organizing games. They're not worried about getting their fields ready. They're not worried about paperwork. And I just want them to coach and have fun. And so I really try to stay out of their way and just be in a supportive role with them and let them do all the work, all the all the work, yeah, and all the fun stuff. Spoken like a true AD. All right, coaches, go do all the work. Um, and so I reap a lot of the credit that my great coaching staff does, not just in the spring sports, but the fall and the winter sports as well. They do great things. I make sure the buses are on time. I make sure we don't get tripped up over things that can trip up programs. And you hire good people and you let them do good things. And I think that's one of the ways we provide the leadership here. Just help keep them on track. Be there as an ear to listen to them. And there's always issues, no matter how successful you are. There's always issues that come up during the season. So to be that supportive, to be that that supportive person for them that they can come to, and they know they can come to, and help them improve their programs. It's a lot of fun. Spring is so busy with rainouts, trying to get fields ready, trying to change transportation. Hopefully we don't miss anything. Just keeping the teams busy, not keeping the teams busy, the busyness that comes from the teams playing and keeping them playing. It's a very busy time. We're going to be watching radar today. We're going to be rearranging transportation. We're going to hopefully rearrange games, get some teams playing today. That's just spring. And you sit on a Sunday like yesterday and you watch it sunshine, and you can't play because it's Easter, and then it's going to rain the next 2 days. And so that's a frustrating part. But watching our kids excel, watching our kids succeed, and success is defined a number of different ways. It's for every team. It's not winning. It's not winning a state title. It might be competing. It might be having enough to play. It might be whatever happens throughout the season. Success is different for every team. And what's fun is watching those teams reach the level of success that they need.
Small community, as we talked about, but doing a lot of big things, particularly here in the spring right now, and a lot of momentum, and everything seemingly heading the right way once again. We'll look forward to discussing more of that coming up here next week. Our thanks once again to Mariemont Athletic Director Tom Nerl joining us for Inside Mariemont Warriors Athletics here on MariemontSports.com and ESPN Media, powered by Sidearm Sports.